Alright, so I'm filming with my new potato. Merry Christmas to me. It was gifted to me by neighbor Beth, my buddy Mike's mother. So we're going outside for a bit just to show you what's going on. Let's see, it's a balmy 73 degrees, though it don't feel like it because I can feel the humidity still in the air. Not sure how well you're going to be able to see shit around here. Not all that well. The engine stand is in fact for sale. 1,000-pound capacity, 1/2 ton. And that's about all I can say on that. But regardless, let's head back inside. It has been a very rough year. As many of you will be well aware, 2016 is a year that from start to finish has been a meat grinder of sorts. It has been bad on many cases, and quite frankly, most people want it over with. We can only pray that this is an alien and we're still gearing up for the final round, as it were. And I'm talking specifically the original Sigourney Weaver Alien, where, you know, the whole mech battle sequence, you know the kind. We're just gonna go for a walk here. Not sure how well you can see me, but whatever. There are some nice lights around. So, why is it bad for me? Oh, those are pretty. Well, at the start of the month, we had initially... Alright, well, let's back up a bit. Oh, he doesn't have his lights on. No one's home, that's probably why. So, backstory. Story time. Our landlords, I guess you could call it, not our house, thank fuck. I would be so pissed. Our store landlords, my mother and I, we rent a booth from two people, Fred and Sharon Kaiser, if you ask me at this point, bastards. Fuck you, Fred and Sharon Kaiser. You can go burn in hell for all I care. It's awful dark down here. That light, you can't see it. But that's Mike and Beth's house. There's a telephone pole right about there that should be on. Fred and Sharon Kaiser own two properties, one of which we'll talk about at length later. The other is the store, the Alligator Antiques. And to those of you in the antiquing world, when you come down to Sebring, Florida, that's the place you go. My mother, June Marie, has for many years been one of the most, if not, depending on the year, the most successful vendor, if not one of, at that store. Now, the life of an antique dealer, especially in this backwater fucking bullshit country-ass town in Florida, survives for 3 months out of the year. January, February, or December, January, and February. Any other time, it's feast or famine. You either get the occasional lone drifter who rolls in and buys half the shit in your store, or you get enough money rolling in to get by. That was a bang. Oh, that's nice. We'll check out that in a bit. Now this is sort of a vloggy vlog because I have to rant. Because I'm pissed off. Yesterday, December 23rd, we finally got everything moved out. Now, for 12 years, we've rented technically 4 booths. 1 large booth at that store. Now, the business, and I'm not sure if you can see it, the business side of things was handled by other individuals who actually own the rights and titles to the actual business, but the property itself was leased out by those individuals who had the business, quote unquote, and they paid the rent for the business as a whole. We had to come up with booth rent in their business in order to stay there. Yada yada yada. Oh wow, the old man's got a real nice setup. That's nice too. I'm just walking around on foot. What in the hell? It opens up. That's clever. Oh, that's just tasteless. That is just tasteless. Now, moving back along to the point, after 12 years of loyalty, being one of the best-selling vendors in the entire store, we get kicked out. We get a 30 days notice the start of December. Oh, that's plenty nice. Ooh, I didn't even see that up there. Now, that was the original notice at December 1st. Some 10 days later, we were told that everyone had to be out by the 20th or be charged full month's rent. Which, considering we're getting cut off at the knees, that's bullshit. Oh, there's lights up here. Cool. Really shouldn't be walking because my leg is short as shit, but I digress. Now, I've spent the better part of the last 2.5 weeks slaving away, helping my poor old mother, who is 40 years my senior. I'm 22, she's 62, and she's, from a genetic standpoint, as old as 72. Even though chronologically she's only 62. But she's huffing and puffing and wheezing. She's got a lot wrong with her. She can barely stand up for any length of time. And to be quite honest with you, it really pisses me off having to see my poor old mother slave away, packing up her entire livelihood just because those bastards wanted to kick us out. Now, why did they kick us out? Because an RV dealership wanted to bring up the lease. The lease was up for renewal. Now, I don't blame them for doing what they did. I blame them for when they did it. Because, again, this town starves for 9 months out of the year. Those last 3 months, December, January, and February, we make our money and feast off of. And they give us that notice at the start of December. That's our entire season shot. If we're really hustling after Christmas, we might get the last week. Might get the last week of January. And that's a big might. Backing up an operation, we found a place not too long after we got the news, thankfully, called the Peddler's Flea Market, which we are so thankful for. That will go into more detail in a bit, but I digress. As we're getting up, we might get February, and that's a big might, depending on how long and cold this winter is, which I'm praying, fingers crossed, we get a long cold one, which brings more tourist dollars in and hopefully helps us cement a new position at the flea market. Now, why is this not as bad of a thing as it seems like, but is still pretty shitty? I don't blame them. From an economic standpoint, if a fatter check at the end of the month means kicking out vendors, then by all means. I don't blame them. And we're not the only ones affected. There's a mechanic shop behind the store that's getting evicted, as well as a shed dealership that we've had conniptions with in the past, but I digress. That being said, I gotta admit, the timing is despicable at best. If they had waited till the end of February, there would have been no hard feelings. It would have just made business sense. But now you're putting bad blood between your former tenants and your new tenants, because that is business opportunities lost. Why? We've carved our names out for the last 12 some odd fucking years in that one place. 12 years we've spent slaving away, building a reputation for ourselves, and now we're moving. No one's gonna fucking know where we are, and that is the biggest hit financially. If we have a phenomenal February, like record-breaking even for us, February, that's still not gonna help us, because come next year, we're still gonna lose business. I mean, admittedly, Peddler's Market isn't the greatest, it's not the worst by any means, and what's really insulting is what the Kybers offered us. Now, before the 20 days notice, the 20th, came about, they offered us a place that they own. They are former doctors. Dr. Fred Kyber had a surgical center directly across from Highlands Regional. That's all well and good. That surgical center has been empty for 10 some odd years, since 2005, 2006, some shit like that, because they retired. They still own the property, they own it outright, they made their money years ago. And the building layout is not the problem, it's the location. Again, you'll always hear this in realty. Location, 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 location. That's the big one. And it really holds true. Why? Because where this particular building is located, if it had been on the other side of a parking lot, wouldn't have been so bad. Now, to those of you who are local to Sebring, you might know what the surgical center is. In fact, I have enough light to actually turn the camera around instead of just pointing in front of me. The surgical center is a building directly across at the ass end of the parkway. I think it's called something else at that point. And we're losing light, so fuck it. Now, on the northbound side, you can sort of see it if you were to prune some trees back, but you have no visibility on the southbound side, which is what most people are going to be using. On top of that, our best year on the books, not just us as a singular vendor, but our best year on the books as a whole for that entire business, we brought in $7 grand a month. And that is phenomenal sales. Best year, is the record yet to break. Best year. From the surgical center, the Kybers would ask 10 grand a month. Are you fucking kidding me? On average, the store is pulling in 5 grand a month. Was. Because we were the last ones out. There was no one left. Well, as far as the vendors are concerned. The head shed guy, I think he's still pulling sheds. And the mechanic, God, he's gonna probably be there to the end of January. That poor bastard. He's got lifts and shit. He's got to pull all that out. That poor man. I feel so bad for him. If I were him, I would have painted over those fucking murals. Fuck the Kybers. Merry Christmas, you filthy bastards. Sing along with the doggies. This is nice. But I digress. Yes, I've said that quite a lot. This is just me walking around my neighborhood. And I gotta tell you what, it's a shitty move what they did. Or at least when they did it. That makes it a shitty move. Oh, that's pretty. Christmas tree. But nonetheless, now my thoughts and opinions on the new place, Peddler's Flea Market. Now, what's good about it? It's right on 27 and it's actually in a better business location compared to where the Alligator was. It's right across from Home Depot. It's in a pretty large parking lot. It's hard to miss from either side. Even if you don't see the actual building that we're in, you're not going to miss that parking lot, which is great. On top of that, the business owner is actually the property owner, which is even better. Because unlike the Kybers, that means they have a stake to lose in this business. Should we lose business from too much money, that's money not just out of our pockets, but theirs. And Wendy, the owner, is a lovely person. She really is. Sweetest woman I've yet met as far as a businesswoman is concerned. What I don't like, and this is going to be just as equally as long, even though she's usually not far, one of the vendors that is moving in with us from the Alligator, an old man, twice he's come in there and there was no one there. I myself have experienced this and I do not like that at all. Why? The store was open and unlocked and there was absolutely, positively no one there. Now, the building is technically a shared unit with an Army surplus guy, but I don't think he's ever there that often, or at least not often enough to constitute security, quote unquote. Wendy, if you ever do find this, please understand, I say these things out of serious concern for my own personal business. I own at least 50% of the stake of what my mom makes. I'm helping there doing half the grunt work that she can't even think about doing anymore just because she can't. And chances are I'm probably going to be helping Mike and Beth because they're moving in with us. On top of that, there's again another security concern. Besides the fact that there was no one there on 3 separate occasions, all of which can be verified by individuals who have no prior criminal record in the past 6-10 years, give or take. I can't speak for all persons involved. But that being said, the placement of the counter, and this is a big one, the placement of the counter and the lockers. Now, to Wendy's credit, she has inquired about lockers. Now, to those of you who are unknowledgeable about the antique business, it is very common practice nowadays to have a locker right up by the door or right by the counter. Why? Theft is a rampant thing. You don't hear about it because people keep that quiet, because a store that gets ripped off gets no business. And that's the truth. So, to curb this, a lot of businesses have started using purse lockups, which is great, because purses, jackets, anything with an absurd number of pockets, unless it's pants, in which case usually you have someone follow that person around. Sorry, people who wear cargo pants, but it's a legitimate concern. Our fears are not unfounded. Oh, that's lovely. Now, she doesn't have one of those. again, she's new to the business. It's not her first business. Her original business was High Point Furniture, which she's trying to get out of the furniture business. She hasn't bought stock in a really long time, so to fill up her warehouse and get more money out of it, she's making a antique business out of it, which is a very smart move if you ask me, because furniture, after the market crashed in 2008, kind of went through the roof and people stopped buying new furniture, and when they did, it was usually people who had money. Still hurting, mind you, but still had more money than the rest of us. Whew. Those sandwiches are coming back to haunt me. I really want that trailer. $400, or $425, I think he said it was. $4 grand, something like that. I really want that trailer. Pull a car on that and everything. Double axle. I want it. And if I had the money, I'd buy it in a heartbeat. Why? Why not? It's a really fucking good deal. And save for the tag and insurance and title, which admittedly gets it pricey all on its own. It's a really good fucking deal. Now, put aside my concerns with Wendy on the security front. One of the things is a minor gripe compared to the others. The store's location, you can only see the actual store itself on the northbound lane, or in your rear view mirror in the southbound lane, which is kind of annoying. But it was never intended originally as an antique dealership. It was intended as a furniture dealership, which again, take that as you want. Needless to say, another minor gripe, and this is not about Wendy. In fact, this is more to do... Is that a ram van? Ew! Birds! Run away! It'll blow up in your face! Yeah, in case you don't know, I hate Fords. They explode, man! Wow, there's so little Christmas lights. I mean, fuck, even I'm not doing that much, but still, damn. Oh, that's right, it's expensive. People don't have money. Regardless, man, 8 gigs really goes a long way. I'm already at the 22:58 mark, 23-minute mark. I'm surprised there's still so much traffic. Here it is, Christmas Eve, it's December 24th. 2016, and yet there's still a fair amount of traffic. I say fair amount for what time it is. It's 9:22. Now, Fab Audio. That's the complaint I'm going to be talking about next, and I'm going to try and wrap it up here. Fab Audio had this guy show up the other day. White 250, or white F250, towing a paint trailer, a small box trailer. Real small deal. The guy is blasting audio like there's no tomorrow. Admittedly in short bursts, but enough to give me a fucking headache and shake half the building apart. I was literally watching the glass in the few showcases that I had there at the time shake off their mounts. And if they played it for any length of time, I would immediately call the cops. And in fact, it's such a common annoyance that Wendy said, "I bet you it's that white truck again." That says something. Now, I have no problem with homeboys blasting their speakers off till they can't even fucking hear, till they have tinnitus so bad that they need hearing aids at the age of 26. I have no problem with that. I have a problem with it when it's in a business parking lot scaring away customers and causing annoyances headaches, and other fragile items to break that are really hard to fucking replace, if not possible to replace. That's what I have to complain about. Now, the guy claimed he was demoing it. Now, whether or not that's the case, it's still scaring away my customers. Customers that I desperately need, as previously stated in this video. I mean, I could go on and on about how my personal life has been garbage, how I've never had a girlfriend on Christmas, which is, I find, really depressing. Now, this is lovely. But, damn it, I digress. Sure would like to have that, though. I'll hush up. Doggy! Damn it. But I digress. All complaints aside, Wendy, I really like you. Here's hoping to a profitable next year. From me, Rock the Vox, here on YouTube. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and Happy Solstice. One more time around the sun, eh, boy?